I'm Holly Girth. Each week we'll bring you a little more encouragement as a follow-up to our latest episode. This week I'm sharing 7 questions that can help us with gratitude. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it's right after Thanksgiving if you're in the US. If you're listening to it later or you're somewhere else around the world, it'll still be helpful. We can all use a little assistance, I think, when it comes to knowing how to be thankful. And I have a confession. Gratitude doesn't always come naturally to me. I can find the black-winged fly in the pristine white paint. I can sound like an old church organ, creaks and sighs and whines. I can make mental spreadsheets of disappointments like an accountant in a plaid tie. Maybe I'm not the only one. I've read about how our brains have a negativity bias. We look first for what's wrong or a threat. This helps us survive. If I were typing in a nicely lit, espresso-scented coffee shop and a zombie walked up to the counter and ordered a latte, I would shift my attention immediately to what was happening. What this means is that recognizing our blessings is learned behavior, a choice, and it's one that takes some intentionality. If we sit down at the table on Thanksgiving or bow our heads to pray and just expect to immediately get into a grateful mood, we're likely to be disappointed, especially if chaotic things are going on around us or we've had an overwhelming day. In an experiment, 2 groups of people were given a list of words. One had positive words and the other list had negative. Both groups of people were then told the exact same story about a man. A simple tale. When asked to describe this character afterward, can you guess which group was complimentary and which critical? It all depended on what they'd recently been thinking about. In other words, we prime our minds by what we put into them. Our perspective on our experiences is, at least in part, predetermined. Perhaps Paul understood that when he said, "Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise." Philippians 4:8. And because of this, I'd like us to walk through a little list of questions that can help you experience more gratitude. I like to use these sometimes when I'm journaling. You could ask them of your family when you're sitting around the table together. Maybe you just quietly reflect on them in your car as you're driving and listening to this little episode. So here are the 7 questions. 1, who in your life are you thankful for? Think of at least one person. 2, what is a memory that brings you joy? Look back and see God's goodness in it all over again. 3, how have you seen God answer your prayers this year? Pause and reflect on one yes you are living in now. 4, when do you feel joy? Pay extra attention to one happy little moment in your day. 5, where can you see God's hand in your life? Consider one way He's taking care of you. 6, why did Jesus come for us? Revisit His extraordinary love. And 7 isn't really a question. It's just a place where you can add your own. Whatever comes to your heart or mind, just ask yourself, what is one little thing I feel grateful for today? We can simply ponder these questions, or you could pull out a pen and make it official. We don't have to feel guilty if thankfulness doesn't come easily. God knows we're human, and He loves us that way. He's the giver of all good things, including the grace we need on the days when our attitude tries to compete with our gratitude. If you want more like this, you might be encouraged by my new book, Prayers for Peace of Mind, Scripture and Encouragement for Days of Anxiety, Worry, and Stress. Like this list of questions, it's full of simple devotionals, short prayers, and encouraging scriptures that can help you shift your mindset for the day. You can find out more about it as well as download a free excerpt at hollygirth.com/peace. Susie, Jennifer, and I will be back with another episode of More Than Small Talk soon. Until then, we hope you'll pass this along to a friend.